Hi, it's Rianne. And today I am going to be doing some more travel tips. I do have some other travel tips videos on my channel. However, since I moved here to Amsterdam, I have been trying to take advantage of being really well located to travel around Europe. So I have been doing a bunch of traveling recently, which if you follow me on Instagram, you probably have seen. So today I'm going to be bringing you some travel tips that I've kind of recently come upon or I haven't mentioned in the past and I've been meaning to. And then when you're done with this video, if you want even more travel tips, I will have an entire playlist linked in the information bar below and at the end of this video. First thing I want to talk about are apps. And I have talked about apps on my channel before. For example, I absolutely love TripAdvisor. I think it is a really great resource if you're traveling. And a new app that I came across has been just a game changer for me, and that would be the Rick Steves Audio Guides app. Rick Steves has created so many great resources when it comes to traveling. He has like a podcast, he has this TV show, and he also has books. But the Audio Guides app is absolutely free on the Apple App Store. So I personally used this app when I went to the British Museum in London, England. And basically what the app is a bunch of free audio guides for different museums, or even like there are walking tours for different cities in Europe on there. And it's just a really great resource because it's absolutely free, and all you have to have are some headphones and your phone. So you can show up to the museum and have a really great audio tour right there on your phone. Many of the museums that I've been going to recently actually have their own free apps as well with an audio tour. So that would be kind of like another tip, is to always bring a fully charged phone and your headphones to any museums you're going to, so that way if they have an audio tour provided, you can, do it that way as well. And I've also noticed that every museum I've been going to recently in the Netherlands has had Wi-Fi, so that way you can actually download the app and use it as well. Another great app is Google Translate, which at first I know is gonna sound so incredibly obvious. However, I wanted to point out that in the Google Translate app, you can open up the camera setting and you can point it to, like, let's say, well, I live here in the Netherlands and I've been using this app a lot at like the grocery store or at HEMA, which is kind of like a Target, and I need to buy something, but I'm not 100% sure that what I'm buying is exactly what I want. You can point the app at some text and it will translate it and then superimpose, if you're an English speaker like I am, the English words right on top. It's pretty much my favorite example of augmented reality, and it's in real time, and it's a little bit like magic. So if you are going to a place where you're not familiar with the language, definitely try it out. It's really fun also, and incredibly helpful. This one's going to sound super obvious again, but Google Maps. The reason why I'm bringing up Google Maps is not just to get, from A to B by walking or taking a car, but you can switch it to the transport option. So if you're in a new city and you're not very familiar with the types of public transport that they have. For example, when I first moved to Amsterdam, we have both trams that are above ground as well as the metro, which is underground. And you can put in what time you want to leave and it'll tell you which one will get you there faster, how often they run, things like that. I think it might even tell you how much it costs, but I'm not 100% sure if you can do that on your phone. I know you can do it on desktop, but it's just a really great way, especially if you're in a new city and you don't know the public transport system and you'd like to use it, and you can definitely save some money that way instead of taking a taxi everywhere. This is just a very quick one from someone who has to drink enough water in their life in order to survive, but I wanted to remind you to hydrate on the flight. So I'm the type of person who has a giant Nalgene water bottle with me at all times. And when I'm traveling, a lot of times I will just bring it empty through security. And then when I get on the other side, I will try to find a water bottle filling station. I do that so often at LAX. I know exactly where it is in the airport at this point. I haven't been able to find it at Schiphol, which is the Amsterdam airport. And it's actually really funny because I was walking around with my water bottle last time I was traveling, and this other girl saw me and she was like, I know, I'm looking too, and I can't find one. In that case, I had to buy a water bottle, but what I do if I can't fill up my water bottle is I just buy the biggest water bottle I can find. I also really like Smart Water because it has electrolytes in it to help me stay hydrated. But it is so important to hydrate on the plane. That's another reason I don't drink alcohol on flights. And a lot of international flights, the alcohol is free, but I turn it down because it is so important to stay hydrated. And of course, alcohol is dehydrating. So yeah, anyway, basically drink a lot of water and your skin and your body will not feel the effects of traveling quite as much. I have seen such a difference between when I've been traveling and making sure I'm drinking enough water and when I'm kind of like, oh, I'm probably drinking enough water. So take that as you will. This next tip is to let your bank know that you are going out of the country if you're traveling abroad, or even, I guess if you're traveling even cross country, it's probably a good idea. The reason I bring this one up is because when I was traveling, I met these two lovely girls on the beach and they were kind of having a tough time with the trip they were on. A bunch of things were kind of going wrong. And one of the things that had happened to them was that one of them hadn't told her bank that she was leaving. So they basically shut off all of her cards and everything. And so when she was traveling, she didn't have a reliable card to use while she was abroad. Especially if you decide that you're just gonna like get a SIM card in the country you're traveling to or just use Wi-Fi and you can't contact your bank, that could be a very scary situation to be in. So it's always better to be safe rather than sorry. That being said, there are a lot of travel credit cards that have like a perk that you don't have to let them know when you will be traveling. I don't really know what the pros and cons on that one would be, but I know that they offer that. A sub tip about banks is that your bank will often have the best exchange rate for cash. And I always travel with a little bit of cash because it's great for tipping or outdoor markets, or just emergencies of any kind. It's just nice to have some cold hard cash with you. So that's another one. And I can only speak from my experience with my bank, but I went and ordered some euros once and it took a full week for them to get the euros that I requested into the bank, which I was really surprised about because I didn't order like 10,000 euros or anything. Like it was not very many euros. Make sure you give them ample time because I remember they called me and they were like, oh, your euros are ready. And I was like, well, thank you, but I am currently checking into my flight. Another resource that I find myself using when I am planning little trips around Europe lately, I have been relying on Pinterest a lot. I think Pinterest is such a great search engine. It helps you to find hidden gems, to find some great Instagrammable spots if that's something that you're interested in. But also I've been able to come across like articles written by locals, which I always find to be incredibly helpful. So long story short, don't forget about what Pinterest can offer to planning for your trip. My last tip for today is to have a money cushion, meaning based on how long you're traveling and where you're traveling, just having kind of like an emergency fund. I don't think it necessarily has to be in cash. It kind of can be up to you, but from what I've noticed, a lot of times when you are traveling and you're on the go, you just end up sometimes having to spend a little more than you were expecting. Maybe there are fees that you weren't anticipating, or there was a mix-up with your online booking, and so you might have to spend a little extra. It's gonna vary from place to place and trip to trip and all of that, but just having a little bit of a cushion prepared, like maybe when you're budgeting for your trip, is definitely a good thing to have. And then if you don't have to spend it, that's great. It was just there kind of as insurance, I suppose. And if that does happen, just remember it happens when you're traveling and don't let it ruin your trip. You're still there and you're still going to have an absolutely amazing experience. So that brings me to the end of just a few more travel tips that I wanted to bring to you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. As I mentioned, more travel tips will be linked in a playlist at the end of this video. If you want to see more travel and things like that, don't forget to follow me on Instagram and to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell so that way you get notifications. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye!